It was a grand summer's day in those halcyon days when men were men and sheep were afraid. The sky was blue, the clouds were white balls of cotton wool scudding gently across the sky, with the odd crow for contrast. There was one contrail. The days were long, the nights were warm, the meadows were mown, the hay was saved, the harvest was just around the corner. It was a grand summer's day. I was out in the fields playing cowboys and Injuns with Dick, or maybe we were playing the Norman conquest of Ireland in 1169. All I can be certain of is we had homemade bow and arrows with us, and that the range of these not very pointy yokes was a very safe half a perch or 25 links at most. We knew from comics that the cowboys wore hats and the Injuns wore feathers. We knew from school that the Normans wore chainmail uniforms and fired crossbows, and that the Irish didn't have chainmail and their bows didn't get half as angry. The teachers neglected to tell us, though, that the Irish went into battle so loved up on magic mushrooms and the water of life that they were ball naked only for a bit of body paint. It's true. I suppose if they told us about the Irish naked in battle, it would undermine all the prejudices they were trying to make us believe about the innocence and purity of the Irish nation, and the crookedness and heathenness and indecentness and degenerateness of foreigners, in particular the English. Instead, the teachers told us that we were from the island of saints and scholars who, armed only with shamrocks and baloney, went out into Europe during the Dark Ages to relight the flame of Christianity, to save the souls of the poor, unenlightened, benighted, deprived, pitiful, pathetic peoples of Europe and England. Oh, woe unto ye! Crying out for Christianity were the pathetic peoples of England and Europe who had been overrun by vandals and barbarians. We tried to rekindle the same flame to defeat the forces of darkness and evil that is the Lisbon Treaty, but sadly these forces prevailed on account of their chain-mail uniforms, which made them too strong for the plucky little Irish left field. With all that running around and having bought a big bottle of red lemonade from the shop up the road run by a cattle rustler, we needed to stop to take a leg. Red lemonade is great stuff, so it is. You can't bait it with an egg. There was ditch out at the boundary of the field, a ditch being what in England they call a dyke, but in Ireland a dyke is what the English call a ditch. So over we went to this ditch, which we were aware the Dutch called a dyke as well, because we'd heard about the little Dutch boy who stuck his finger in a hole in the dyke, but we couldn't quite work out what the joke was. We were, after all, small at the time. Be that as it may, having seen their soccer team playing total football at the 1974 World Cup, we knew that the Dutch were a bit exotic. Suffice to say that while we were still a bit young for it, we knew that if we drank sufficient Dutch gold, it would give us the Dutch courage to ask a Dutch wife to go Dutch with us without a Dutch cap in the Dutch gold-induced Dutch oven. And if you didn't understand that, you may very well think I'm talking double Dutch, but I'm not. To explain, Dutch gold is one of those ultra-cheap Roger Skull-off lagers which induces copious quantities of flatulence. Dutch courage is bravery induced by copious quantities of Dutch gold. A Dutch wife is a lady who entertains gentlemen at their convenience, and sometimes in a public convenience, so I've been told, but I wouldn't know quite exactly how. To go Dutch is a treat where everybody pays their own way. A Dutch gap is a gadget of the contraceptive persuasion. A Dutch oven occurs when a couple or more are lying in the scratcher. One pulls the blankets or duvet over the heads in the scratcher and flatulates, thereby wrapping, trapping and enrapturing the company within with the benefaction. And finally, talking double Dutch is talking nonsense or hot air, which flatulence tends to be. So to recap, while me and Dick were still a bit young for it, we knew that if we drank sufficient Dutch gold, it would give us the Dutch courage to ask a Dutch wife to go Dutch without a Dutch cap in the Dutch gold-induced Dutch oven. And if you didn't understand that and you thought that I was talking double Dutch, you now know that I am not. The Dutch are exotic creatures. Anyway, over we go to the ditch and whip out the lads for to take a leg, and the next thing I see is Dick collapsing beside me. Then I spot a bit of smooth wire in the long grass like a snaky snake. A feckin' electric fence. Dick must have pissed onto the wire and a 12-volt jolt went up the stream of piss into Dick's dick. No wonder Dick collapsed. Seeing this, I was reminded of what the doctor said in the black and white movie and the colour movie. The eye is the second most sensitive organ in the human body. Seeing Dick lying there, my powers of deduction from what I saw of that film, of what the first most sensitive organ was, those were confirmed. I rotated through 180 degrees. No, I did not stand on my head. I turned around. And I turned around, and even though there was a road nearby with a good view of where I was, at that moment in time I didn't give a damn who saw me pissing in the field. When I had shed the final tear and packed everything away, I caught Dick by the scruff of the neck and lifted him off the wire. The poor whore had continued to piss well unconscious, and his trousers was well wet. Then Dick, the buckle buck, the poor little boy, had to explain how he wet himself to his mammy. I didn't. I was lucky. Thank you.